I'm Anitra Larson. Oh, got it. Had to wait for it to tell me it was recording. Welcome everybody. This is Anitra Larson. I'm with Blue Lake Websites. I made your website if you're watching this video. So today I'm just going to run you through the three main areas of your website and how to edit them. So you have events, you have news items, and you have pages. So your events, I am screen sharing. So you should see the Rock Community Library here on your screen. Your events are on the home page, scrolling down your upcoming events section, and also on the events page. Your news items are on the home page, latest news and announcements, and also on the news page. And then everything else on your site is a page when it comes to editing purposes. So your about pages, your services, your catalog, well, not your catalog, that's a separate site. In this case, the collections page is a custom page. So I'm going to start by logging in. So I'm currently not logged into this site. So how I get logged in is I go to your main website URL. So the home page would work. And then I type in /wp-login.php. So I'm assuming you got a set of how-tos, or if you didn't, let me know, reach out and I will get you some how-tos on running your site. But that URL is at the very top of your website. So it's your website name, whatever that happens to be, and then /wp-login.php. Whoops, and I'm going to type it again because I just clicked off of it. And that will bring you to a login screen that looks like this. I've assigned you a username and password. If I haven't, reach out to me and I will. So your how-to sheet does not have your username or password on it. It's just got some lines for you to write them on there. So you'll type in your username. And in this case, I'm just going to use my saved user, and it's going to ask me to confirm that. And then if you want to have it save on your computer for later, you can check this remember me checkbox and then click login. Okay. Once you are logged in, you'll come to this dashboard, which is kind of the admin central for your website. It looks much more complicated than it is. I gave you full access admin capabilities, and that's because I am a one-person business. If something ever happens to me, God forbid, you just have to find another WordPress developer and they can run with it from having the WordPress admin access here. So, but the items over here, if you notice these little red notes, know that I will take care of those. That's part of the maintenance plan that Plum Creek Library System pays for you. So ignore those, I'll take care of them. Sometimes they're buggy, so I like to track how stable the release is of a plugin or a theme and update it once I know all those bugs are out. And I also sometimes know if there is a bug in it, what I need to do to fix it immediately. So just kind of leave those to me. Ignore those little notifications. I know for some of us, ignoring notifications is really hard. I am one of them. I hate seeing those notifications. I have to take care of them, but just please ignore them. I will take care of them. Okay, so back to what you do on this admin. So the three areas you're going to pay attention to are the posts, which is your news items, the events, which is logically your events, and then the pages. Again, that's intuitive, that's your pages. So we're going to start with events. So I'm going to click on the events link here. And the first thing it's going to do is load the list of events that we currently have on the site. So you see on the Rock County Library, we've got some story times with Bronwyn. We've got a trivia night at Take 16. So these are the existing events on the site. So if we go back to the front of the site, let's go here. That's the events that show here and on your events page. So it looks like some of these are maybe past events. Yep, so April 22nd would be a past event. So we've only got one upcoming, which is why you're only seeing one on the site. To add a new event, you'll click add new. There's a button up top. And there's also a button over here on the left. So they go to the same exact place. You can take your pick of which button you want to click to add a new event. And then once you click add new, you'll be taken to a screen that shows your event details. So it prompts you here to add the title. We are going to add a new event. We're going to add my birthday just because it's fun to practice with birthdays, right? Until you're 40. And I'm after 40, so I don't know, it's still fun. Okay, and then in the content area, you can add event details. So maybe we say big bash at the lake. Whatever details you want to add there. So if it's story time, maybe you say who your story time speaker is. If it's a board meeting, you might even put in some of the agenda items here, whatever description you want to add. Also, description's optional. So you could just put in story time and just leave it at that. We're going to scroll down this page to add some other settings. So here, the next box is time and date. So we're going to put in time and date. So if I click in this area that has the date, it's going to open this nice little calendar picker. And then we're going to use that to select the date. So I'm actually telling you all my birthday. Don't steal my identity. Okay. Then you put in the time. So my party is going to start at 3. And then we'll run till 5. And then the rest of these items I typically ignore. So the location, you all have your library location in here. If you want to say it's at, my party's going to be at the Rock County Community Library, Big Bash. The rest of them I ignore. So the organizers, I usually don't put anything in there. Event website, I skip that typically because they're on your website. But if you happen to have a Facebook event for it, you could link that there. You could put a cost in if you wanted to. Most of your library events probably don't have a cost. So again, you can skip that. And then all of this Yoast SEO stuff I skip too. It's just telling you, here's what it's creating for search engines. You can just know that it's automatically creating some stuff. And then as you scroll back up over here on the right-hand side, there's a spot for a featured image. So you find a library that's maybe doing featured images here. So for the Edgerton library, they've got a featured image with this event. It looks like it's cropping some of it off, but if the image isn't square, it will unfortunately do that. I'm going to open Webasto because I know that they do featured images too. Okay, so in this event spot here, we've got this is the featured image. So whatever picture you put in this spot here on the event edit screen is going to appear in your widget area as an image. And it's also going to appear on your events page over here on the right-hand side, if you have the list view. If you have the month view, it's going to appear when you hover over an image or hover over an event. All right, so I'm going to set a featured image. So to do that, I'll click set featured image. And then what it does is it opens your image pop-up. So by default, it's showing me the media library. The media library is the images that are already uploaded to your site. If you want a new picture, you'll click the tab to the left of that that says upload files. And then you'll click select files and you will find it on your computer somewhere. That's always the fun part, figuring out where you saved it on your computer. So I'm going to go back to media library and just select one that's already on here. So let's just choose their logo for fun here. We'll click set featured image. So now that image is going to be the featured image for my event. That's all I'm going to set for this event. So once you've made all of those additions, you can click publish, or if you're not quite done making those additions, say a patron comes in, you have to help them, say it's 5 o'clock and you really have to jet and you're going to finish it tomorrow, you can save draft, which is what I'm going to do in this case, because I don't really want this to appear on the Rock County website. So it saved the draft. It let me know right up here. It says event draft updated. And then when you do go back to the events list, we'll click back to events. Here it shows Anitra's birthday is a draft. We're going to delete that because I don't really want my birthday to clog up this admin screen. So to remove an event, to delete an event, once you hover over it, you'll see there's a trash button. So you'll click trash. And now that event goes to the trash. One note, you see this, whoops, up here, this list that says all published trash. So things don't delete until you double delete them. So they'll be in your trash. So let's say I didn't really mean to do that. You can click on your trash to see the items that are trashed, and then you could restore it if you wanted to. Okay, so that's a single event. A recurring event is just a little bit different. So let's add a new event, a new recurring event. So same button, same add new button. And then we'll just call this recurring test. Okay, and then we'll just add some dummy content. So the part that's different is in your time and date area. So let's say we have a library board meeting that's the last Wednesday of every month. So we're going to select the 27th because that's the last Wednesday of April. And we're going to set the time, I don't know, let's say 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. We're going to be efficient, have 1 hour meetings. Okay, and then you make it a recurring event using this event series schedule multiple events button. So click on that. And then it will give you options on the pattern for that recurring event. So if this happened to be a weekly event, you click on weekly and it will pop up with some information here. So it's every week. If it were every other week, you'd select every 2 weeks. If it were every 4th week, you'd select every 4th week, et cetera, et cetera. So say it's weekly, we'll say every 1 week, and say it's weekly every Wednesday. So we'll leave that at Wednesday because it's assuming, since my first event was a Wednesday, that it's going to be Wednesday every week, which is a good assumption. It's also assuming that because this event was at 5 p.m., it's going to be at 5 p.m. And then series ends on, if it's a weekly event, usually I go out to the end of the year and then I'll reassess it. I'll see if that particular event's going to happen on the same day next year. If you go out more than 2 or 3 years, sometimes the system will get a little bit confused because the dates go out really, really far. And I don't know, I'm not sure why, but it doesn't like to go out 5-10 years in advance. So try to keep it to a year or 2 in advance. So we're going to set the end date for this weekly occurrence for the end of May. Let's say our schedule changes the end of May with the end of school, and we're going to update it. So that's if it's weekly. If it's monthly, you check the monthly button up here. And so here it's every month. Again, if it was every other month, you'd go every 2 months. So we'll say every month. It's on the same day of the month, and that may or may not be true. So if it's on the 27th of every month or the 15th of every month, then you would keep this saying the same day. If it's the last Wednesday, which is what I said it was at the beginning of this event creation, you're going to change to a different day, and then it's going to be on the last Wednesday. So there's our pattern for that event. If it were yearly, so maybe you're going to put Christmas in, you say every year in, then you'll select the month on a different day. So here you select the pattern for yearly. If it just repeats once, so let's say you have an event that happens twice, you could put it in individually twice, or you could use this once and then select the second time that it happens. So maybe it's a pottery class that you have Wednesday and Thursday of a week. You wouldn't have to necessarily put the event in twice. You could make it a recurring event for 2 dates. But the most common ones you're going to use here for recurring are weekly and monthly. So if your story time's weekly, you'll go with weekly. If your story time's monthly, or if your board meeting's monthly, you'll select monthly. Also, a note for the recurring events, if there's an exclusion, so let's say you have story time the first Monday of every month, but then we've got Labor Day or Memorial Day, things that occur on Mondays where you would cancel that. So maybe Christmas is a Monday or something. So you'd add the exclusion. So then it's going to keep that pattern weekly every week, except for whatever date you add in the exclusion. So you would do that by clicking add exclusion. And then I'm going to select once, and then the date that that does not happen. So we have this event happening every Wednesday. So we'll choose a Wednesday, and then it won't happen on that Wednesday. If you have another one, you click add exclusion, add another date that it doesn't happen. Okay, recurrence description is up to you. And then the rest of these things are the same. You can choose your location. If it's a location other than your library, you just start typing a new location name. So maybe we're going to say community center. And because it didn't find that in your existing locations, it'll give you a little option to create community center. If you click that, then it will pop up these options to add the address, city, postal code, phone number, website, if you want. Again, I'm going to skip organizers. I'm going to skip website. I'm going to skip cost. I'm going to skip the SEO stuff. And I'm going to head back up, and on my way up on the right-hand side, I'm going to set a featured image. So we'll click set featured image. I'm going to pick the same one, the little library logo, because I like that one, set featured image. So that will now be the featured image for my recurrence. I don't want to really publish this. This was a test, but if you did, you'd click this publish button right here. If it were an existing event you were updating, that button's going to be in the same place. It's just going to say update instead of publish. I'm going to move it to the trash. So here's my move to trash button, just to the left of the publish, and it's asking, are you sure? And we're going to say yes. Okay. That's all for events. This is usually where I pause for questions, but since we're just recording, I will move on to the next spot. So the next area we're going to talk about is the posts, which is your news items. So on the Rock County Community Library site, we'll scroll down again. I'll show you where that's at. On the home page, that's this latest news and announcements area. And on the news page, that's the items that fill this news page. So to edit those, you go to posts on the left-hand side menu in your admin, and then you'll see the items that are there. If you want to edit an existing one, you'll hover over it and click edit. If you want to add a new one, there's an add new button on the left and add new button on the top. Take your pick. So I click the add new. Again, it prompts me to add the title. So we're going to type in test of news item. Same as events, you put your event details in this box down here. So this is not events, this is news item details. But it's simpler than events because that is all there is to it. You also have the option to put a featured image here. So again, I'm going to go to Wabasso for an example here. So on their news items, they've got these featured images here. Those also appear on the news page right here above the text for their news items. So that works the same as events. You click set featured image, select your image, click the set featured image in the bottom right, and then you have a featured image. Publish button's in the same spot as it was with events. So you keep scrolling up the page, you'll click publish, or if you don't want to publish it yet, you can click save draft. And then it will be in the post list later when you go back. So here's my draft. I'm going to trash that one too. Okay. So that's news items. So far we've done events and news items. Now I'm going to show you how to edit the actual page content. So we're going to start on maybe the library overview page. Yeah. Okay. So these pages are built using a WordPress plugin called Beaver Builder. It kind of takes the main WordPress admin and turns it more into a drag and drop editor like Wix or Squarespace, if you've ever used any of those. So the Beaver Builder, you can get to this page in one of two ways. If you're logged in, you'll see this black bar at the top, and you click Beaver Builder and it will launch the Beaver Builder. That's the short way. The long way is you go back into the admin. So from the front end of the site, you get back to the admin by hovering over the name of your library in the top left and clicking on dashboard. That'll always take you back to the admin. And then you would go to pages. So this is where all of our pages are housed in the admin. So there's our page list. If you have more pages than fits on one, you'll see pagination in the bottom left, or sorry, the bottom right and the top right. Right now where it says 12 items. If you have, I think, more than 20, it will ask you to page to another page. So you might scroll to the bottom and say, I didn't see the page I wanted. And that could be because there's more pages on your site than what show on this one page. Okay, so the long way to get in was to go into your admin, go to the pages menu, hover over the page you want to edit. And here you can click edit. If you click edit, it's gonna, I'll show you what happens if you click edit. Or you could go straight to the Beaver Builder by clicking Beaver Builder. So if you click edit, it will take you to a page where it says Beaver Builder is currently active for this page, launch Beaver Builder. So we will launch the Beaver Builder on the About page by clicking that button. Okay. You'll know the Beaver Builder is launched in a couple ways. You'll see this bar up at the top that says you are currently editing page, whatever page you're editing. So in this case, currently editing page About. There'll also be a done button in the top right, which you'll click after you've made your changes. And then you'll also notice as you hover over items, you get icons that did not appear when you weren't in the page builder. So we're going to start by talking about what each of those icons do. So the first icon is the move icon. So you see we have two layers of icons. The outer one is the row. The inner one is the module. So Beaver Builder uses modules within columns within rows. So the About Us, the mission statement text here, the photo, these two photos, those are each individual modules. And then the About Us and mission statement, they're in a column on the left, and then these photos are in a column on the right. And then the whole row is outlined in, it's in blue when I hover over those buttons, and it turns to black when I hover over a module. So if you were to move a whole row, which I'll show you that on the home page, because on this page we only have one row, so you can't really move it. It's all there is. But the move icon will work on the modules within this page. So we'll click the move icon for the module. And right now I have the heading module. Let's say we want it over here on the right. So now I've moved that module. Let's say I want this text over on the right too. So I'll click and hold on this move module again. It's going to go wherever that blue bar is. And I'm going to move these photos over to the left now. So we'll use the move again, move those into this left-hand column. And we don't really want to do that, right? So I'm going to go back. I'll move things back to how they were, but that's what your first icon does. That's what your move icon does. The second icon, the wrench, is the edit icon. So if you click on the edit icon on the heading module, you'll get a pop-up. We're going to go back to the general tab. That's where we want to start. So if you click on the heading module wrench, you'll get this pop-up that says heading, and you'll get the different options that you would get with a heading module. So in this case, we've got the text for that heading. So we could change this to about Rock County Community Library if we wanted to. I usually go with H1. This is the size of the heading. So if you go down, your heading's going to shrink. Waiting for it to show there. We've got a fly in the room. Okay. So we'll keep that at H1. And then your style tab will have styling options for that module. So in this tab, we've only got a few options. In this module, we've only got a few options. We've got color. So if we click on the eyedropper tool, it's going to show us all of the colors of the rainbow. And you see that that heading is changing behind my pop-up. Or we have color presets. So on the bottom here where it says color presets, if you click on that, it's going to show you the 4 brand colors that we've set for your site. So if you want to use one of those 4 brand colors, you would just click on that. And now that headline is our turquoise blue of this brand color. You also get some options under fonts. You get all of the Google fonts, all of them, there's lots. You get font weight. You can choose the size. So by default, it's going to go with the same size for every H1 headline which is probably what you want to keep. We don't want to mess too much with size of fonts, but know that you can, should you ever want to make a font really large, or if it's too big for some alignment that you've got, you can do that. You've got, speaking of alignment, you've got the alignment option here. So now it's centered. And then you have a couple other options. So if you wanted it all caps, there's an all caps option. If you want it all lowercase, we're all editors, right? So we know that that's not grammatically correct, but you have the option. Lots of other options. I'm not going to run you through everything Beaver Builder can do because I will hurt your head. But someday when you're bored, play with them. At the bottom of each module, you'll see 3 buttons. So save would save the changes you just made for that module. It doesn't publish them yet. Things don't publish until you click the done button in the top right. But it would be the first step to saving your change. Save as is used mostly in page building. So if you saved as here, it would be saved in a library of modules to use on the pages, which I'll get to towards the end of this session. And cancel will not save any of your changes. It just goes back to the way it was before you open that pop-up. So now we've got the about us aligned to the left without the color, everything before I made my changes. Okay, so if we click the wrench on the text editor, we'll get a different set of options. So I'm going to click the wrench here. I'm going to go back to the general tab because that's where we want to start. So the text editor looks just like the editor from our events page and our posts, only it's a module, which means we can build columns around it in the Beaver Builder plugin. So here, this is just like your normal text editor. You can highlight text, make changes to the style. So let's say we wanted to bold this, we would highlight it and click bold. So a lot of these options probably look familiar from your use of computers in the past. So I am going to run you through real quick what all of these little icons do. So the first one is paragraph. So that's the size of your font. So let's say we want this staff to be a little bit bigger. So I'm going to highlight the text that I want to change. I'm going to click the drop down here and see, here's our heading 1 option again. So that's going to make it the same size as the about us text at the top of the page. If we wanted it a little smaller, we would select the next heading down, et cetera, et cetera. Bold italics, you've used those in the past. Bulleted list, that turns things into bullets. Numbered list will give you a numbered list. Block quote I never use, but it's kind of the newspaper equivalent of, if you're reading an article and they've pulled out one quote to be really big in the middle of that. That's kind of the block quote. I've only got one client who's ever used it. They don't even use it anymore. So you can ignore that quotation mark one. It's not useful on your site. We've got alignments, we've got left, we've got center, we've got right. Those are familiar to you. And then the link one is how you would add a link within the text. So let's say we want Laverne, Minnesota to link to maybe Laverne, Minnesota's page, or maybe the Wikipedia page for Laverne, Minnesota. So how we would do that is we would highlight the text we want to be the link. We would click on that link, and then it's going to ask you to paste the URL. It says, or type to search. So it doesn't search the whole web, it just searches your website. So if you were going to link to your events page, you could start typing that in, but it's not going to find Laverne, Minnesota for us. So I'm going to open a new window real quick, see what I get when I type in Laverne, Minnesota. Okay, so we're going to link to their website. So I'm going to copy their URL from the top of the site. I'm going to go back to that page where it has my pop-up, and I'm going to paste in the URL for their site. So here we've got thecityoflaverne.org. If you're sending anybody off your site, there's one more step. So this little gear over here, we'll click the gear. It's going to open another pop-up with some more settings. We're going to click the open link in a new tab. So anytime you send someone off your site to another website, you want to do that because that's kind of common website behavior. You want to open a new window so that when they close that, your site's still there. I'm going to click update so that it applies that. And now we've linked Laverne, Minnesota in the text there. All right, continuing through what these icons do, the one to the right of the link is a no distraction mode. So if you click that, it brings you to just editing the text. Most people, or at least I've never seen anybody use that. I think we're also used to multitasking these days that we don't have to go to no distractions, and but it is an option there. This last icon shows or hides the second row. So see, I clicked that. Now we don't have 2 rows of icon options. If I click it again, now we do. So all of these buttons in the second row, that just shows or hides them. The font size, that probably looks familiar to you. So you can use the heading to change the size of font, or you can use this font size to change the size of the font. Horizontal rule. So let's say we want to a line in between these sections. So then we click that button. Now we've got a line in between those 2 sections. The A with the triangle going down, that's a color setting. So let's say we want this word staff to be in a different color. We'd highlight the text we want to be a different color, and then you can select the color you want it to be. Paste as text. This one's important if you're ever pasting from a Word document. So say you started a press release in Word, you have it all ready to send out, and you're like, oh, okay, I want to add it to my website too. So you'll go to that Word document and you'll copy, and then you'll go into one of these text editors and you'll click that paste as text button before you paste it in from your Word document. So I'm going to move this pop-up down a little bit, and you can see what it says behind it. So it says paste is now in plain text mode. Contents will now be pasted as plain text until you toggle this option off. So what that means is when you copy from Word, the copy function brings with it word styles. So if your Word document is 12-point Times New Roman and you copy and paste it into your website, the section you pasted is going to be 12-point Times New Roman, which is going to look odd because the rest of the text on your website is not 12-point Times New Roman. So the way to avoid that is to click this paste as text button before you paste from Word, and then paste it into your text. The next button over, the eraser, it does something similar only in retrospect. So it removes the style for whatever you have highlighted. So I'm going to highlight this word staff since I've been playing with that one. I'm going to click the remove style, and now it's going to bring it back to how it was before I styled it. So now we just have capitals and bolds. The U, the upside down U, the horseshoe here is the special character. So if you click that, you'll see all the special characters we could add. So if you ever need the copyright symbol, that's in there. The registered trademark symbol, or registered and trademark symbols, are both in there too. Those are the most common ones you're going to use. We've also got some fractions, some superscript numbers here. The little E with an accent for resume. So there's the capital version, the lowercase versions down here too. And then a lot of other options that I've never used in 200 websites, so you may not either. Okay, we're going to close that. All right, and then we've got indent and outdent. So if you tab in WordPress and you publish, you're going to be really frustrated because it's not actually going to hold your tabs. So if you want things to be indented, you'll put your cursor there and you'll use this indent button to indent things, and then the outdent button brings them back. But if you tab that, you're going to see a tab, maybe. Nope, not even now. So you're not going to see a tab anymore. So the way to indent is to use that button instead of using the tab on your keyboard. And then, of course, every good computer program has an undo button. So we'll just keep clicking that undo button to go back from what we've done, or a redo button if you click undo button one too many times. Okay. So that's everything in the text editor. If you ever open your website and you see a bunch of carrots, here's my carrots in your text editor, it's just because it's showing you the code. So this is called text. I really wish they'd call it HTML or code so that you know that it's not just text, because it's kind of confusing name text. But if you ever see all these carrots, all you have to do is click this visual tab and it will take you back to the view that you're accustomed to. The text editor also has styles. So if you click up to the top of this pop up to the style, here you can change the color for all of the text. Obviously, we're not going to keep that because you can't read it. Yeah, change the color for all of the text in that module. Change the font for all of that text in the module, etc. So we're not going to save my play changes on this. So I'm going to click cancel at the bottom of this module, and it's going to go back to how it was before. All right, one more module on this page to play with. So we've got a photo module here. So we'll click the wrench on the photo module, and it's going to open a pop-up with different options again. So here, the photo source, you can use a URL, but I usually recommend actually putting the website or the pictures on your website, because if you use the URL, someone else redesigns their website and that photo is no longer there, you're going to have a big question mark where that photo was. Okay, and then the photo spot, this is where you select which photo goes there. So if we wanted, so right now I've got the photo, I'm going to make this a little smaller here. I've got this photo here. I assume it's a staff picture here. So if we wanted to make that a different picture, we would click the edit and choose a different picture. Once we've selected it, so you're going to know it's selected by the checkbox in the top right, you'll click select photo, and it's going to change that picture in the photo module. You can also make the photo link somewhere. So we've got a link spot down here at the bottom of that pop-up. If you wanted to link it somewhere, you can click URL, add the link. And then there's also a style tab for the photos. So if we want to crop it, we get some options. Let's crop it to circle. And now it crops that image to circle. You also have square, portrait, panorama. So if you're using any of these crop options, you probably want to make sure that no one's head's cut off or the subject of your photo is not cut off, but you do have some cropping options, which is nice in cases like the two below this one. Say if they weren't exactly the same shape to begin with, I could use one of those crop options and then they would be. We have alignment options here, which in this full column, you're not going to see. And then there's also the option to add a border, which I haven't done on any of your sites, but it's there. Okay, so again, I'm going to say cancel because I don't want to save any of my changes, but if you did, you would click save there. Okay, so those are the three modules on this page: the header, the text, the photo. They're the ones you're probably going to use on most of the pages you build. So as I've gone through these, I've clicked the wrench to show you what the wrench does on each of them. We're going to talk about what the other couple icons do here, and then we're going to go to the home page. So the third icon, the one that's two boxes overlaying, that's a duplicate option. So let's say we want to duplicate this picture shape. I'm going to click duplicate. It makes an exact copy of that module below it. The last button, the X, removes whatever module you're hovering over. If you click the X in the row, it would remove the entire row. And then the fourth option over in the module is your column settings. So if we wanted to edit column, a couple things here that you might do. The width here is 50-50. So let's say you wanted to change that. You want the photos to be a little narrower and the text to be a little wider. So we'll change that to 60. So you can see back behind here now the text is wider, the photos are at 40. So it's in percentages because we're responsive now. We don't do pixels now, we just do percentages of your screen size since there are so many different screen sizes. The other option for column settings, you may do a background color. There are dozens of different options in this column screen, but the only other one that I think you might use is the background color. So let's say we want to give this column a background color of the yellow. That's not so pretty, but you have the option. I'm going to cancel this again because I don't want to save any of those column settings. The row settings icons is a little different. There's also a row actions button. you don't have to worry about that one. You can just ignore that button completely. The duplicate would duplicate the entire row. So we'll do that on the home page a little bit here. Okay, so when you're done editing a page, you'll click the done button up here in the top right, this turquoise color button that says done, and it will give you 4 options. So discard means don't save any of my changes. I don't like how it turns out, or I was just playing, or in my case, I was just teaching someone. Save draft saves it for later. So you won't see it published live yet, but the next time you go into the Beaver Builder, those changes will be there waiting for you. And publish does just what it says. It publishes those changes. They're live for the world. Cancel keeps you in the Beaver Builder. It just closes that little options for being done. So we'll click done, and we'll click, in this case, discard, because I was just playing and I don't want to mess up anything on this page for this client. Okay, so now you'll see I'm back to this black bar at the top instead of it saying which page I'm editing. So I'm going to go to the home page. And then instead of going back into the dashboard and to the pages menu and to the page I want, I'm just going to click straight on Beaver Builder this time to edit the page here. Okay. So again, as I'm hovering over things, you'll see the icons. I'll talk about some of the modules that are different on the home page. So most of you, the libraries, have just an ordinary slideshow up here at the top. I'll show you in just a moment the second option that a couple of you use. But most of you just have an ordinary slideshow. So you'd edit that by clicking the wrench. And then it's going to open this pop-up. And then the option you're going to look at is the photos area here. And then you can click either edit gallery or add photos. It takes you to a little bit different place. So if you click edit gallery, it's going to start with the images that are currently in your gallery. If you clicked, here, let me cancel out of that. If you clicked add photos, it's going to start you on a screen where you can select more photos to add. And then over here on the left, we'll let you toggle back and forth between those two options. So they're basically the same spot. So let's say we want to add a new image to this gallery. We click add to gallery. Again, it shows us the things that are currently uploaded to the site, or the option at the top under the words add to gallery, you click upload files, find a new image on your computer by clicking select files and then looking through your index. And then once you've uploaded that, it will appear in the media library as an option. So I'm just going to randomly select a picture so that I can show you the rest of this. So we'll choose this video. No, that's books. I thought it was a video library. We'll choose this book group here. You'll know it's selected by the checkbox in the right. If you want to add more than one, just keep selecting them. So now I've got 4 new ones added, but I don't really want to do that. So I'm going to undo with that little minus sign. Okay. Once you've selected the images you want to add, you'll click add to gallery. And now here's that image that I just added. And then from here, it's click and drag so you can move things into a different order. So let's say I want this brand new picture to be the first one that shows. I can click and drag it up to the top left and it will be the first one that shows. If I want to remove any of them, so I'm going to remove the one I just added because I'm playing, but if you wanted to remove some old photos when you add new ones, you click the X and it will remove those old ones. Once you're done editing that gallery, you'll click update gallery in the bottom right corner. And then it will bring you to the pop-up for the slideshow and you'll click save here. And then had you added more images, they would then appear in your slideshow. I'm going to hop on to Edgerton's site and show you how their slideshow works because it's just a little bit different than the ordinary slideshow. So I'm going to launch the Beaver Builder here. So I think we have just 3 or 4 libraries using this format, but this format works if you're creating all of your images at the exact same dimensions and you want to include words. So if you're uploading images to the ordinary slideshow that have words on them, those words may get cropped off on different screen sizes. So, but you can upload different images, different image shapes, and it will keep them all the same shape, which is the benefit of using that instead of having to crop your images. So in just a few cases, we've got a different form of slideshow at the top here. So I'm going to click the wrench. This one is called a content slider. So here we've got different slides for each. Slide 1, each slide has its own edit button. So let's say I want to edit slide 1. I'll click edit slide underneath slide 1. Slide label is just for you, so whatever you name that. And then the content layout tab is really the only one you have to worry about on this slider. So this would be where you'd input the slide or the graphic that you've created. So for Edgerton, they've made all of their pictures. Let me find this back so I can show you the size of it. They've made all of their pictures 2000 by 650 pixels. So they've made some extra steps ahead of uploading the images in order to keep the proportions for the image on their website. If you've got graphic design skills, we can create this gallery on your site. If not, we're typically best with just a straight up slideshow gallery. So I'm going to click the X out of this. Nope. And I'm going to cancel. Okay. So in this case, they've got 7 slides. We'd use the move icon to change the order. And then the slider tab up top has some settings too. So this would control how fast they go, what the transition is, etc. So I'm going to cancel out of that one. Okay, so that's what's different on just a few of your sites that you've got a slider where if you create graphics, they work. Go back to Rock County, go through the rest of the items on the homepage. Okay, so as we scroll down the homepage, we've got these 3, I don't know, I call them highlight boxes. And within each highlight box, we've got 3 modules. So we have, this is a heading module, the services is a heading module, and then we've got a button module. So I'm going to click on the wrench on the button module because we haven't looked at the button module yet. So we'll click the wrench. And then here's the pop-up for the button. So you can change what it says. So if you wanted it to say something other than learn more, you could. And then in the link spot, this is where it links to. So this links to our services page. And then the style tab has some settings for that button. So we've got the text color is black. The text color when you hover is white. And then it's reversed on the background so that you can read the text when you hover over it. And then this is one of the cases where I have used the column background. So we'll click the column settings. And then here's our background color for the column. I haven't used it in a lot of spots, but in this spot on the homepage I have. So if you ever change your color scheme, that's where the setting is for that. But you can always reach out to me and be like, hey, Anitra, update my color scheme, and I can take care of it in all of the places for you. Okay, so as I scroll down the page, we're going to see some elements that we've already talked about. So here we've got another photo module. We've got another heading module. We've got another text module. So those are the things we looked at on the About page. We'll keep scrolling down. Here we've got another heading module, another button module. And then the upcoming events and latest news. You won't ever touch either of those on the homepage because those come from your admin events and your admin posts sections. So you won't edit those on the pages. You'll edit those in the admin under events and in the admin under posts. Keep scrolling down. One more feature on the homepage to show you. We have number counters. So to update the numbers in the number counters, you would use the wrench to open the pop-up for that number counter. You'd go to the general tab, and then here it gives you layout options. What you're probably going to update is this number here. Note that if you put a comma in it, it's going to tell you, I don't like commas. There, it's not a valid number if it has a comma. So you'll know from that you need to remove your comma. And it adds it back for you. So I don't know why it doesn't like commas, but it doesn't. And then you have options for text before number and text after number. So in this case, it says collection size. If it were dollars, you can add a prefix to the number. So in this case, let's add a $sign. You'll notice now back behind the pop-up, it says $55,000 because we've added a $sign. If you want to say a suffix, where that might be relevant is, you have 5,000 plus of something. So you can add the plus sign, and then it will add a plus sign after your number. So you don't have to know exactly the number, but you can say kind of more than just by using a plus sign. And there are style options on this one too, where you can adjust the color if you want to. If you want to change the speed of how fast that moves, that's also a setting here. Lots and lots of options. Again, I'm not going to show you everything Beaver Builder could do, but if you ever want to play, just play with it and then don't click save if you don't like how it turned out. So, all right, so I'm going to cancel out of this module because the collection size did not grow quite that much in 5 minutes. Okay. And then once you're done editing the page, again, you'll click this done button in the top right and you'd click publish to make your changes live. I'm going to click discard just in case I made some changes I don't want to save. And we'll click OK. Okay, a couple other modules that we didn't see on the about page or the home page. We've got, let's go to how do I. This is an accordion module. It's called that because it moves like an accordion when you push the little plus sign over on the left. So let's click Beaver Builder here. So now Beaver Builder's launched. We will hover over our accordion and click the wrench. And then each question or each how do I item has a different edit link. So let's say we want to change one of them. We'll click the edit item. And then it will open this text editor that should look familiar to you. It looks just like the one on the posts and in the visual editor, where you can change the text to read as you want it to read. I'll click cancel here. I don't have any changes. Over on the right of each item is a move icon, a duplicate icon, and a delete icon. So if you wanted to remove any of those questions, you use the delete. Duplicates, not really something you need to do, but if you wanted to add a new one, you could either duplicate an existing one and change the content or click add item and just add the info there. And then the move icon, let's say you get the same question on the phone 17 times a day about meeting rooms. So you're thinking, okay, I want meeting rooms to be first now. So you'd use that move icon and put the meeting rooms at the top of your how do I list. So now that one's at the top. Okay, going to cancel again because I don't really want to move the meeting room. And then I'm going to click done, and in my case, discard because I don't want to save them. Okay, I'm going to refer to my notes just for a second here and make sure I've covered all of the things I wanted to cover so far. Okay, I think I have. All right, I'm going to show you now quickly how to build a page from scratch. So I'm going to go back into the admin. I'm going to go to pages and I'm going to click add new because I'm going to make a new page. So I'm going to call this one test. That helps me find things to delete them later if I was just testing. And then instead of just typing in the text in this area, I'm going to launch the Beaver Builder because I want to show you how to build using the Beaver Builder. Okay, so once I've launched the Beaver Builder, you can see again, we've got this currently editing page test and then our icons or our button at the right for done. And then you notice that it's opened this library of modules. So that's been there all along. It's just been a plus sign. So if I close that out, it's been there. Yeah, it's been right beside the done button all along, but now you know what it does. So we'll click the plus sign again. It will open the library of modules. So a lot of these you've seen. So the heading, we'll just pull some of them in. So it's click and drag. So I'm going to pull a heading in. I'm going to call it heading because I'm not feeling all that creative today. I'm going to change it to H1 because I usually do. And now I've got a heading module. I'm going to click the plus sign. I'm going to pull a text editor in. So there's our typical text area. Now I've got text in there. I'm going to click the plus sign again. I'm going to click and drag a photo in, but I want the photo not to be a full column. I want it to be half a column. So I'm going to drag it to the right until it shows me another column as a bar. So it's going to be a thin bar as you add it, but it's going to create columns that are 50-50. So I'm going to drop it now. I'm going to select a photo, just randomly grabbing a picture there. And now I have two 50-50 columns, one with a photo, one with a heading and text. I showed you that that column edit would allow you to change the percentage. You could also do that if you hover over one of the modules and click on this little circle that appears. So that will make this shrink and grow. I'm going to click the plus sign again and keep pulling some things in. So we've played with the button a little bit. I'm going to drag a button in here. I want a button right there. You'd add the link here. You do have to type in the HTTP if you're typing in a link. I almost always just go to a new window so that I can copy and paste it so I don't fat finger something wrong and have a wrong link. I'm going to choose open a new window here too. Now we have a button. I'm going to keep going back to that plus sign. Let's say I want to add a video. So I'm going to grab the video and I'm going to, let's say I want it to be the whole width. So I'm going to drag it down below where the blue bar is the whole width of my page. And then you can upload about 20-second videos to your websites, which really is not long enough for anything. So I usually select embed. And then I grab the embed code from YouTube. So I'm going to show you how to do that quick too. So I'm going to go back to a new window. I'm going to go to YouTube. And I'm going to type in, I don't know. Library of Minnesota. We'll just see what it brings up. Okay. How about the Library of Wonders? Meet the Minnesota Orchestra Library. So you'll open your YouTube video, and then below the YouTube video, you will click the share icon or the share button. It'll open a pop-up with some options. You'll click the embed, the first one here, and then you'll copy this embed code that it gives you. So I've gone to YouTube, I've copied the code for the video. I'm going to go back to my test page and I'm going to paste that into my video module. I'm going to click save. And now I have whatever video it was that I had there. Okay, going to click the plus sign and keep adding some fun stuff here. Let's say I want to add an icon group. So I'm going to add that in this column. So an icon group is often what's in the footer of your site. So I'm going to cancel out of that actually. So this area down here in the footer under Connect Us, that is an icon group module. So the Facebook, Instagram, YouTube links. Oh, I should have added one of the videos from their actual page. Okay, so that's an icon group. It looks like I have to add it back because I canceled out. So we'll grab an icon group, pull that in right here. I'm going to add a few icons. So under icon, I'll click select icons and you get all of the Font Awesome library plus a couple other icon libraries here. New for COVID, we've got this little bug that looks like a virus. We've also got a toilet paper icon. I actually got to use the toilet paper icon on a site because I built one for a sanitary district. So finally got to use the toilet paper icon and also the poop icon, which I've never used on a website before. So anyway, a whole lot of different icons to choose from. We'll grab a book one just for the sake of the library book here. And then you can make that link somewhere. And then we can add another icon. We'll click add icon, click edit icon, select, choose another one. So there you can start adding some icons. My favorite module, so scroll down. My favorite module is the countdown. So I'm going to add a countdown over here to the top maybe. And we're going to count down to my birthday again. You'd think I'd be excited about being older, but I'm not. Okay, 2022. Okay, and we're going to count down to, okay, time zone. I usually start typing in the word Chicago or the town Chicago because otherwise it takes a long time to find one that's in your time zone. So you can see behind this pop-up, we've got the start of a countdown, 173 days. And then there's a style tab on the countdown too. And I always use this because it makes it even prettier. So I changed numbers to numbers and circles. Now we've got circles. And then I also changed just a couple of the style settings. So I'm going to make this our brand colors. And I'll make the circle a little bit littler because it's way too big. Okay, so now we have a countdown to my birthday. I think we did actually add a countdown to a summer library program kickoff on someone's site. I don't know if we published it or not, but we did start it during a how-to. Click back to the plus sign. A couple more things to show you. So the gallery one, let's grab that. So here's the slideshow. This is what's at the top of most of your home pages. The content slider is what's at the top of the others. A couple other things we've used on your site. Here's the accordion, that's on the How Do I page and the policies page. The number counter is what's at the bottom of your homepage with those numbers. So we haven't even used all of these modules on your site, but we have used quite a few. Okay, I'm going to pull in a normal gallery just to show you what that looks like. So let's put that above the video. I'm going to go back to the general. So this is more of, it's not exactly thumbnail, but it shows all of the pictures you select at once instead of a slideshow where it shows just one at a time. So I'm going to click add photos and just select a whole bunch of images for this here. After I've selected some, I'll click add to gallery in the bottom right. It's going to show me the photos I've got so I can put them in a different order if I want to. Then I'll click update gallery. And now you can see here my gallery of photos behind that. I'll click save. Actually, I'll click save as here to show you what this does. So I'm going to click save as, and it's going to pop up with a name to save as. So I'm going to call it gallery. Yes. And save. So it looks like it didn't do anything, but if you click this plus sign and then you go to the saved list, that's where the items I've saved for later are. I haven't saved much for later, but here's that gallery test that I just did. So that's click and drag. Now you can drag it onto the page. And then it's automatically going to open this pop-up once you pull it on. So now we've got two galleries stacked because I just pulled one out of the saved library. Let's say you built a test page, you built this countdown, it looks exactly how you want it to look, but it's not the page you want it on. You could use that save as option to save it and use it on a different page. Okay. Just a couple other things under that library of modules. So there are two other tabs we haven't looked at. So we've looked at the modules tab and we've looked at the save tab. The rows will allow you to pre-create rows. So you saw when I dragged in that photo, I created a row by dragging it into a thin column on the right. If you knew you wanted two columns to begin with, you could just drag in that structure. So if I drag in this 2-column structure here, it's going to start me with 2 columns. If I know I want 6, I can drag in a 6 structure here. And then you would just go back to the module tab and start pulling the things that you wanted into those modules or into those rows, columns. The third option over is templates. So this is pre-built pages from Beaver Builder. I don't usually use these because you're paying me to build you original pages, but there's a bunch of pre-built pages in here if you ever want to see how those are. So then you could select one. It's going to say replace or append. I'm going to choose append because I want it to show below. So then it's going to pre-populate with that pre-built page, and then you'll want to update the content of it to be whatever you want on your site. So it's actually not bad colors for this site with the turquoise and stuff. Okay, that is all on page building. So I'm going to click done, and I'm actually just going to discard this page because I don't want to save it. I'm going to actually throw it into the trash completely. Okay. One last thing, how to add things to your menu bar. So your menu bar is this bar here underneath your logo that shows the pages on your site. So just because you add a new page does not mean it's going to show on this menu bar. There's one more step. So you'd go back into the dashboard, and then the menu is under appearance and menus. And so here is the menu. So if you wanted things in a different order, it's click and drag. Say you want the catalog to be the first item after the home. So you click and drag that up there. If you wanted something to be a sub page, you kind of just pull it in until it indents. So that makes it a drop down of the page above it. You remove a page by clicking the triangle, and then there's a remove button. And you add a page over here on the left. It's going to show you all the pages you created on your website. I just deleted that test one, otherwise it would show it. So to add a page to the menu, you click a little checkbox to the left of the page you want to add. You click the add to menu button underneath, and then it adds it to the bottom of your menu. So here's the collections page it just added. I'm going to remove that because I don't really want it there. Okay. And then once you've made all the changes you want to on the menu, you will click save and it will save. I don't actually want to move that catalog link, so I'm not going to save. But note that your menu does not keep past revisions. There's no reverting back. If you accidentally save something wrong on your menu, you would have to recreate your menu bar to look how you want it to look. That said, I don't think I've shown you where the revisions are on your pages. Okay, so let's launch the Beaver Builder. If you're ever playing with your page and you accidentally save it and you want to go back to how it was before, Beaver Builder does save revisions. So that would be under this homepage option. And then here's a revisions item. It's about the sixth one down. And so this shows all the revisions we made to the page. So if you wanted to see how it looked yesterday, or in this case, the last change was 3 weeks ago, you could click on that one. It will show you how it looked back then, and you can choose to restore it if you want to. The apply button is up here on the top left. We don't want to restore it, so I'm going to click cancel there. But that might help you sleep a little bit better at night, knowing if you play with the page, and even if you accidentally save it, it does save revisions, so you could go back. Okay, going to click done, discard, and that's really all I had for my lesson. I'm gonna see if anybody there has something to add. If there's anybody still on at the Plum Creek Library watching this.
Yep, we're still here.
Okay, good.
Great. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording.
All right, perfect.